Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Red Pill Podcast number 96. I hope you're all having a beautiful week. What a week it has been for me. I've been getting on a lot of other people's channels, doing podcasts and interviews, and I have a couple coming up very soon, actually, earlier in this upcoming week. So we've been keeping busy over here in the Wolfpack. Shout out to Decode Your Reality. We recently just got together for a 3-hour podcast, as well as Call Me Kinfolk. Me and him were going for 4 hours the other night. So, wow, it has been quite a week, and I hope you've all been keeping busy as well, taking action from your purpose and staying focused, staying motivated, especially in times like this. As well, shout out to the Bearable Bull for sharing the interview that we did on his YouTube channel. It's brought a lot of attention to my work, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for him being open-minded and to his community for being open-minded to what we're doing over here. I saw that after the interview that was posted, he made a YouTube video where he gave me a shout out in the beginning of the video and said that the interview that we did together actually influenced him to change his exit strategy. And I just thought that was really incredible to know that people are taking this work seriously, and the XRP community specifically is becoming more conservative over the years and changing their investment thesis, looking to develop a more sophisticated investment thesis. And because Bearable Bull has such a large community, over 200,000 people follow him on Twitter, over 150,000 follow him on YouTube, it really means a lot to know that me and my work has influenced him, and then he can influence his community, etc. And just bring more balance and truth to the world, especially in this asset class that's very volatile. So again, anyone who's new here that have joined over the past week or so from these recent podcasts I've done, welcome to the Wolfpack. It's so great to have you here. If you haven't gotten access to our Discord server yet, just go ahead and send me a message on Patreon direct message with your Discord username and the last 4 numbers after your username, and I'll reply back with a Discord invite in Patreon messages. Not emails, not comments, none of that, just by Patreon messages. It's the safest way to communicate with me, because at this time, as we're growing, there's multiple fake Twitter accounts that are coming up, multiple fake Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. And it's just kind of become this thing where, honestly, if you want to contact me directly through Patreon is the best way. And I use it as a support chat, not for general chat. And it's been very helpful in just keeping everyone protected and safe in this process. So anyways, I wanted to give a shout out to the Wolfpack as well for doing an amazing job in the coin voting system when we vote on the altcoins for new episodes for the next podcast. So I'll be sharing my quick thoughts on VeChain and Zilliqa next week. But let's try to hold off on voting for those coins. Let's try to hold off on voting for the same projects so often. I'd like to have at least 2 to 3 months of new chart data between reviewing a coin we've already covered in a past Red Pill podcast. So if you're interested in voting on one of the coins for this upcoming podcast, just make sure it's not the ones that we've gone over last month or the month before that. Let's give it some time. We're doing these podcasts every single week, so it would become, too repetitive if we're covering those same projects too often. And VeChain, Zilliqa, and Theta are probably my most covered altcoins outside of the episode, outside of doing ETH and XRP. Apologies. I have this really loud plane like right above my house. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing amazing. We're going to have a fun time today on this podcast. We're looking at this Bitcoin chart right here, the flex chart, as I like to call it, when Bitcoin was trading at less than a penny. It's funny to look at this chart sometimes, especially as me as a technical analyst. You just have, this doesn't exist anywhere else. It's very amazing how Bitcoin has pulled this off. And another thing to say is if Bitcoin can do it, then of course something else can do it. And I know that kind of becomes the topic of conversation around things like XRP. I'm not by any means saying that XRP is going to do that. I probably shouldn't even say this right now to trigger anyone too early into the podcast, but it is called the Red Pill Podcast. So if you're ready for the truth, I know the truth is hard to accept. The truth sets you free, family. It's more of the Clear Pill Podcast, actually, depending on how spicy it gets. But I said that I had some updates, and first update of today, and I'll probably be getting into some other ones throughout the podcast. First update is next Friday, we'll actually be adding a new text channel to our Discord server for Friday night hangouts. So this will be to coordinate a group voice chat for the mastermind community, or even do movie nights. So I know that Devortex and Clementine and maybe some other members were getting involved in doing like a movie night where they would stream the movie through the Discord server in the mastermind community category, all the way at the bottom where it has the voice chat function. So moving forward, we're going to try to make that a regular thing, and I'm going to create a dedicated text channel so that we can organize those events. And that'll be starting next Friday, probably do a movie night and continue to develop it as we go. So another thing is we will be doing that every week. This way we could have something to look forward to every week. We have the Saturday live streams that I typically do, and then on Sundays I do these podcasts. So then we could potentially have one day for movies and then another day for like just a general voice chat hangout. And then it gives us 3 extra days that we could come up with some ideas. So ultimately, I would like, before we get to March, for every day of the week, there could be some sort of activity or something we could all look forward to doing. Just bring more engagement into the community. So one of the other ideas that I had was perhaps a DJ night. So we can hang out and listen to a music playlist. Every other week, we could dedicate a different genre of music, or a decade of music, or maybe even a geographical location. If we wanted to listen to Ethiopian music for the night, we could do something like that. So it was just an idea that I had, like a DJ night. I know that there's DJs in our community, so you guys feel free in our Discord, share some of your feedback in the general chat, and maybe we can organize something. We could have a movie night, voice chat hangout night, and then DJ night, and then kind of build it off from there. If somebody's a yoga instructor, somebody does tarot readings, whatever, just bring it to the community. And I want to have a schedule so that every day we have something that we can engage in. And this ultimately, I think, is going to make this Discord so amazing. And we did start that new project called Wolves Meetup. Text channel is dedicated to that. If you go to the Wolves Meetup text channel, you could click on that and then go to the threads. And then when you get to those threads, you'll see that it's broken down by country or by content, or it's broken down by region as well. But check that out. We do have some people that are organizing some meetups, so that's amazing. And we're just getting started. We're really just getting started, leveraging on the community that we have. And this is kind of like the social media platform for us. So we're doing an amazing job. I'm looking forward to all these new ideas and seeing how you guys engage with it all. So let's get into some dates. Okay. So today being the 29th, Sunday, day of the sun, and we've entered the year of the rabbit. And I gotta say, it seems like connections to Saturn are very positive on the market behavior. And I'll be breaking that down, the philosophy on that in a moment. But I just want to talk about how today is 7 days into the Chinese New Year. So the Chinese New Year was on Sunday, January 22nd. We're 1 week in, and this number 7 is tied to Saturn, as well as it's a 73 date numerology, and we have 73 giving us the 21st prime number. You could see that right there. And Saturn in Gematria is giving us that 21 in multiple ciphers. And September, let me check out a couple more things. Oh, and we are connected to September 17th. This is something that I brought up in earlier in maybe last week in my YouTube video. But if we connect the same date to September 17th, this is the last day of the Jubilee, and that's exactly 33 weeks away. So definitely some interesting energy today, and we're seeing positive energy in the market. We're seeing crypto is up. So the stock market is closed right now, and it's only crypto trading, and we know the creator of Bitcoin is the mythological egregore we call Satoshi Nakamoto, who is Saturn. And we're continuing to have positive activity for the crypto market over weekends since the lunar eclipse back in November. So this is a sign to me to pay attention to the numbers tied to Saturn or Kronos for positive effects on the market. Remember, The Jubilee year is the 50th year in that 49-year cycle. So we typically have very negative energy in Shemitah year, but the Shemitah year, it's also bull run top, and then it follows with a larger correction. So in crypto, this is much more volatile than the stock market, but we're kind of, seeing the signals of this relief rally energy, this kind of relief rally you're seeing here, or even this move right here, or even that move. We're seeing that actually begin right now in this cycle, and we've gotten some confirmation. So we're going to be breaking that all down today. Anyone who's been following along my work for the past 6 months or so, you know that I was saying to look out to March and April leading into early May for a relief rally in the crypto market. And that energy is just beginning now. We're approaching February, so, we don't have a lot of time between now and that recovery, but we know crypto is very volatile. It can make these recoveries fast. We're going to be talking about some downside targets today as well. Just to give you guys some conservative numbers to look out for if you're anticipating. And also, if you have not watched my last Red Pill podcast, I showed a very thorough Wyckoff method chart. So I'm going to pull that up really quickly just to remind you if you're confused. So this chart right here, it shows you that when we have our automatic rally, to follow that, phase C could actually be a return down to the bottom, which could be a lower low or a spring in Wyckoff method, and that could happen in a lot of this market. So I just wanted to share this early because some people feel like they missed the bottom. And I'm not here to be giving predictions or anything. Wyckoff method is over 100 years old, and it's been working time and time again. So after we have these relief rallies, the buying pressure gets exhausted, and then you typically have returns back to either the heart line of your structure, somewhere where the most trading range was happening, or a prior support. And then you could even go deeper, and that would depend on what the stock market does. So if the stock market is going to have a really big correction into October or November of this year, then of course it's going to bring crypto down. So I just don't want people to feel like they're going to have to start FOMOing in, because what happens is as we break this heartline territory, people do start to just FOMO in because they feel like I missed out. And that energy is what keeps people from being a sophisticated investor. And another thing, and I know a couple members have brought it up in the Discord, is this like waiting around for me to make a move thing. And I've been telling people for a while now, don't wait for Jordan. Don't wait for WatersAbove. I have a completely different investment thesis than most people. I bought my Bitcoin at $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. I bought my XRP at 17 cents. Okay? I de-risked when I needed to, but I'm still holding a little bit of a bag of those same projects. So please, do not be waiting for me. I've been saying that publicly as well. So please take action when needed. You got to develop your own investment thesis. And the one thing that everyone needs to just kind of see is that I've been telling you to become self-reliant this entire time. I've been giving you the tools, sharing the TA, sharing the decoding for you to apply to where you are at financially with your cash flow situation, your job, your business, whatever you got going on. We're living different realities. And that's very important for you to understand this, because this is what creates these FOMO peaks. It's what creates these buying climaxes, and it's also on the other side, it's what creates these dramatic sell-offs. Is people waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they start getting in when it's exciting, when they should be taking action when it's boring and bloody. And that's also been my mantra since I created my mastermind course going back to October of 2020. All right. So please develop your own investment thesis. Use these podcasts to potentially influence some of what you could consider regarding the technicals or the decoding, and then apply that. Apply what resonates with you to your thesis. It's important we get that out of the way early on, because some people are newer here. Some people are coming over from the Bearable Bulls channel, and they might not be used to seeing the TA. They might not be used to hearing this energy, but I'm a real one. My mission is to make you self-reliant, not waiting around for what I do. Okay? So I am just saying that we're seeing some Saturn energy giving us positive signs. And now let's get a little bit into the philosophy of the matter. So remember, Since my year of the rabbit decoded, I released that video a couple weeks ago now. I mentioned that after we enter the year of the rabbit, we need to start paying attention to the energy that these numbers bring us. So we're still in a data gathering phase. I revealed the key numbers in the decode. Those are all out there, specifically 52, 25, 12, and 21. Remember, 12 is the rabbit. So if 12 is an important number for us, then every number we mirror, and that goes back to 21, and Saturn is 21. So we're getting positive energy for the connections to rabbit, as opposed to the tiger, we were getting negative energy. So I'm going to explain that in a moment for everyone. We've been using this Chinese lunar year in our decoding, and it's been helping us tremendously since the year of the ox. And that was when I started pretty much sharing my work publicly, during the year of the ox or the bull. All right. So I just want to reiterate, we're still in a data gathering phase. I revealed the numbers that were important in the decode, and now we're analyzing the effects that those numbers have this year. All right. So in 2021, the year of the ox, the numbers, and this is just an example for you guys, the numbers 15 and 47 were giving a positive energy. So 47 is the 15th prime number. It's just connecting back to 15. And we get that 15 tied back to tiger, okay? So I'm just giving an example right now to make sense of all of this for people. Back in the year of the ox, 2021, we were seeing a positive energy for anything tied to the number 15, anything tied to Jupiter specifically. So we weren't seeing anything extreme though, nothing extreme. But in the year of 2022, the year of the tiger, the number 15 and 47, this was a very negative energy. So along with anything tied to Jupiter, it was very noticeable and it was much more dramatic. The year before, the year of the ox, it was positive but more neutral. 2022, very negative, dramatic, and noticeable. So now we're in the year of the rabbit and we're determining the energy tied to the numbers for this year. And we're only 7 days into this Chinese New Year, but we have the tools to decipher it. And I'm sharing that with you on a weekly basis. As well, I have my Super Bowl decoded coming out on February 1st. I'm aiming to have it out right at the start of February, so it's going to be released in a couple days. This will definitely be helping with our decode overall, tying it back to the year of the rabbit and all of the big significant events that were happening in the year of the tiger leading us into this year of the rabbit. So we're combining all these systems alongside the Hebrew calendar, alongside all, we're just combining it all. We're simplifying it as much as we can, and then we're utilizing it. We have utility for all these numbers. And this is how we're able to decode the market. All right. So speaking of February 1st, when I'm going to have my Super Bowl decode out, this day is really important because it's the day leaving 333 days in the year. And following that day, which is the 2-2 day, the 22, it will be the 33rd day of this year. So February 2nd, exoterically, will be earnings reports for stocks, mostly tech stocks. And that's important because that could mean that this upcoming week is going to be very volatile. We have to consider this Monday, the 30th, the stock market opens, and then we're right into the monthly close for the overall market on a Tuesday, which is the 12-date numerology tied to the rabbit, but this is the day of Mars, god of war, so pay attention to this, guys. And then that pivots us midweek to Mercury Day with the 333, as well as the 33-day. Just consider this. This could be a very volatile week for the market, especially because of how bullish it's been at a time where it really shouldn't be bullish, honestly, going by the data that we have. Okay, so let's look at the next full moon. We're not giving too much of our energy to these moons as much as we are to the eclipses, and we don't have an eclipse until April 20th, okay? So when it comes to these full moons and new moons, we just get the pivot of energy within the time frame. But we talk about that so often, I don't even want to get into that today. The next full moon will be on the 5th. And this is pretty interesting by the numbers because the date is 2-5. And written internationally, it's 5-2. So that's 52 and 25, just like rabbit equals 52 and 25. All right. So just keep in mind, this is a symbol of the moon. The rabbit and the moon are tied together symbolically, and that is the date of the full moon. Also, full moon giving you 36, and this is going to be the 36th day of the year. Coincidence? And it's also connected to September 15th of 2023, which is the first day of Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year, by 222 days, the 222. So this means that it's also connected to the 16th of September, the actual Rosh Hashanah date, which is important because Rosh Hashanah this year is on a Saturday, a Saturn day. It's connected to this full moon by 223 days, the reverse skull and bones number, and it's the 223 year. The 223 year connected to the end of this Hebrew year, the end of the Jubilee year, which has a 23 date numerology, and Jubilee equals 23, and it's the 223 connecting. Just amazing. So I have an even crazier date to share with you guys, by the way. We're just getting started on this decode. So yeah, the following day being this Monday, connecting to Rosh Hashanah by 222 days. It's a Monday, the day of the moon. And you can see we have 51 and 15 date numerology, and moon gives you 51 and 15. And this is also the 37th day of the year, and 37 is the 12th prime number. So again, this 12 connecting you back to rabbit, and we're in the year of the rabbit. So definitely an important connection there. And also connected to Rosh Hashanah by 222, 222 days. Something interesting, and I'm going to show you guys this really quickly. A 222 connection in Gematria is World Economic Forum. You're getting that 222. And you also see that 96 in full reduction, and the queen allegedly died at 96. And WEF, which is the abbreviation of World Economic Forum, you could see it gives you a 16. And this date that we're talking about of the 7th, the following day, is a 16 date numerology. So I think that's pretty interesting because we're connecting some of these things to the 2-7 with Jupiter. I've been talking a lot about Jupiter lately, kind of like glazed over the whole connection that I wanted to share with you guys. But anyways, you got that 2-7 with Jupiter. And you got that 222 connection that we're talking about to the last day of Rosh Hashanah. So this will be the final day of the Hebrew New Year, connected by 222 days. That 3-day window is really important with Rosh Hashanah, guys, and you got to decode accordingly to that. It's funny, I said that at 22 minutes in this podcast. It's all coded in. And you see the 24 date numerology. The zodiac logo of Jupiter is 24. The 24 connection there, all with this 222 going back to World Economic Forum that I was showing you. And this WEF abbreviation giving you 16. And this is a 16 date numerology. And a couple things to talk about as well is this date connected to the upcoming solar eclipse. I'll show you this, is 72 days. So you got the 2-7 written internationally. February 7th would be 72, connected by 72 days to the upcoming solar eclipse. And we know Bitcoin equals 72 in Gematria. We have money equals 72 in Gematria. We were talking about these connections back to the World Economic Forum and this number 16. And it's amazing how this all connects back to the 16 as well. If you go to Chinese New Year, it connects to this Chinese New Year by 16 days. This gets crazier. If you go 16 days after this date, it's going to bring you to the 23rd of February, which is the 223 day and the 223 year. This connection is madness. Absolutely wild with all these 16s. So you guys could have fun with that. I see February 7th is going to be a very interesting date because forward and backwards 16 days to Chinese New Year and the 223 day and the 223 year. Just absolutely mind-blowing, man. Absolutely mind-blowing. So during this time frame, we're going to be in sidereal Aquarius, but tropical Pisces. And one thing to mention about Pisces is we're getting that 23 in Chaldean. And this 23 is everything this year. We're in the 23 year. We're in the Hebrew year of 5783, which reduces to 23. And all these 23s are really important to cryptocurrency because it's tied back to Bitcoin with that 23, as well as Mercury with that 23. These are all in the same cipher, by the way, and Mercury being the god of finance. So, all right, guys, let's move on. I gave you a very important and interesting date, a couple of dates, and I think that this one is between the 5th to the 7th. That 3-day window, 5, 6, 7 of February. It's gonna be interesting, and this energy on the earnings report day is probably gonna set it all in because we have that 33 right there, that transmutation energy. So let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Going to get off the flex chart. Maybe I'm going to duplicate this so I could leave this open if I need to reference it later. And then I want to go to this 12-hour. Bitcoin just keeps going up. It's pretty interesting. I think we're breaking now. We're getting back into this wick. Okay. So I'm going to turn off these drawings and we're going to just look at this obvious bearish divergence. So you can see the RSI sitting here at about 95, but while Bitcoin is trading at 21,000, we go sideways and we start to have this bearish divergence become pretty noticeable on this breakout candle when it went up to about 22.5, but you can see the RSI is sitting at 83, about 12 points lower. We are kind of hanging out sideways, and then on this candle, which was coming into today. So this is what I don't like. Bitcoin keeps doing these breakouts on weekends. This is not healthy. And you could see RSI right now sitting around 80 on the 12-hour. So we're getting multiple lower highs while we're getting higher highs on the price. It's pretty obvious bearish divergence. And this just, to me, this is not looking amazing. This is very fake out energy vibes, and I'm not buying it. But we do have some good signals. One is the fact that we're trading above this 200 exponential and the 200 simple. We can see that this 55 simple moving average is looking pretty solid, and the daily 8 moving average has been a beautiful support for us thus far. So you can see this yellow moving average, the 8 simple moving average, really looking good. We're about to, when this 55 crosses these 200s, we're going to start looking really solid. So that's a signal to pay attention to. You guys could take notes on that. When we see this 55 simple cross above the 200 simple, that's going to look pretty good. And then all of our EMAs on the daily in bullish posture. So let's go to the monthly chart first, and then we'll start breaking this stuff down. Ooh, this is really interesting. This is the first time I'm seeing a wolf cross to the downside on a monthly chart ever on Bitcoin. This is new data, though. It's good that we're getting this cross. It's good to have a first iteration of something. Also, Bitcoin's RSI on the monthly is at 46. So we have so much room to go for this theory of a relief rally that I keep talking about. Something like this energy. So yeah, we have a ton of room to go, because if you look at this relief rally that came in, it was getting into about 65 RSI. So we still have about 20 points to the upside. Tons of room to go on the macro. But in the short term, it would be nice to get a little pullback regarding my analysis that I was sharing on the bearish divergence on the 12-hour chart. So we're looking fucking so similar to this moment right here. It's so similar. Wow. Oh, also, guys, by the way, we have Chicago Mercantile Exchange opening up a couple hours from now. We have the Dow Jones opening up, as well as precious metals. So we have a little bit of action. Oh, the DXY. So we do have some Forex trading happening into our weekly close for crypto. Those open up a little earlier. Let's look at the biweekly. Okay, biweekly, we're still below those critical candles of about 24,000. So, ooh, this is a biweekly close. Okay, guys, so pay attention to this. We have a biweekly close coming in today, and we're still sitting below the structural high of August. So if we were to start actually closing above 24,300, which we're super close to, that would actually look like a reversal. That would look like a reversal, pretty much, because you're breaking that structure, and then the next thing would be about 30K. 30K would be your next sign. So we've talked about 30K a bunch of times thus far, though, because we have all of this right here where we stopped out before going into our first crown top distribution. Then when we had that distributional top, we returned back to 30K, held it as a solid support. Then we broke out into another like double, it was like a double top bull trap, and then coming back down into that 30K territory before breaking into what I'm calling a selling climax or a downtrend. Downtrend was broken right here on this candle, and then we had this bigger candle to make that noticeable and kind of cement that energy into the charts, which led to 95 to 98% losses in a lot of altcoins. So bottoming signal is pretty much completed when we get automatic rally engaged. And automatic rally engaged for me would be trading above 25,000. When Bitcoin starts trading above these wicks right here, I would consider the automatic rally to be underway. And then we're looking for 30, 33, probably up to the mid 40s potentially for Bitcoin sometime into April, maybe early May. Please remember this, guys, because when we get to those time frames, it's just going to be like, okay, we were talking about this 10 months before it happened. Just want to remind people, sometimes people forget about this shit. You know, we were talking up here, all back here, about the idea that after the end of the Shemitah, when the Shemitah was starting, I was talking about how after the end of the Shemitah, if we have eclipses, to be paying attention to those eclipses for some of the biggest pullbacks that you're going to get in this market. And that's what happened. We had Terra Luna drop to pretty much zero. And then the following eclipse, we had what happened with FTX into this end of the year. I mean, it played out pretty much exactly. Now we're in this moment where we're starting to see the charts showing us recovery conditions. And I think that's really good. That's important. It's important to get signals and to have actual proof in the charts rather than just words that we're talking about. Looking at the biweekly, we're still have a ton of room on this MACD. We're looking at this RSI at 47. So I would say this close that we're about to get is going to get us over the 50 RSI range, which is going to look really good on the macro for recovery. We're at the weekly chart right now. We're above 50. So it's looking pretty good. We're getting closer to 0 point of MACD. Histogram's looking good. This is looking good, but you can see similar thing. We're still having to deal with that level right there for about 24.3. Okay, we definitely could be considering, the weekly chart having these 200s squeezing right about 25,000. And I just told you, trading above 25,000 would signal to me the continuation of an automatic rally. We have this 55 sitting at about 26, and the last time we tested the 26 was back here, and we got rejected off of it, and that was the continuation of downtrend. And the big reasoning for this rejection is because we had a wolf cross. So when this 8 is below the 55 on a weekly chart, then the 55, instead of it being a support like it was here, like it was here, like it was here, this doesn't count because this was a black swan event. But you got to consider that we've had a flip in a couple of these indicators, but still this holds. Until we get to the 55, we don't know how we're going to react to it. And the fact that we have 25K right there, that key level, that key horizontal level with the 200s, something to keep in mind. We could even hit 25K first, roll over really quickly down to like 20 and then continue. And that's a good theory, by the way. Everyone should write that down. We could hit 25, roll over to 20, and then have that continuation. That would not be weird at all. Technically, it would not be weird. We have a couple iterations. We have one thing to point out, though, on the weekly chart. Is this is the first time we've been trading below the 200 moving averages on the weekly chart ever. We've held it all back in 2015. We held it on the selling climax of 2018 into 2019. We retested it during the C-scam pandemic. And then lately, since we broke through this at the end of this Shemitah, we're trading below it. And we haven't backtested it since coming down to 15K. So it'd be interesting to see how we interact with that level of the 200 moving average. Let's turn these off and let's look at our EMAs. Okay, so this is important too. We still have a bearish posture on our EMAs for the weekly, but we've gotten above the 34. We've backtested the 34 and we're holding it. The weekly 21 is a key level to consider as well. So on today's weekly close, we're going to definitely be above the 21 unless for some reason Bitcoin just wipes out $3,000 in a couple hours. That's highly unlikely. This 21 moving average is going to swipe up to right about here, right about 21K. So boom, right there. It's going to kind of flash to the upside. We might even see this 13 potentially cross above the 21, which is a very bullish sign and a bottoming signal for sure. Getting a back test down to that 21K level is possible. It would be a little dramatic, of course. If we were to kind of suck down into 23,300 and then drop down to 21, okay, that's less than 10%. Bitcoin does that all the time. We could see this red candle here was 11.5%. This candle was 9%. This candle was 11%. This candle was pretty much 9%. That's 11. Let's look to even a bullish time. We have right here 9%, 21%. So Bitcoin could close macro weekly candles with 12%, 10% corrections easily. So that wouldn't be weird. If we were to maybe even close here, pop down really quickly to 21, and then the following week by the 13th, which is a thing that I said as well, guys. I told everyone to pay attention to February 13th. That's a crucial time frame, because by then we should be out of all of the bearish energy and onto this finality of the relief rally. So we still have a couple weeks to play out, and the fact that earnings reports are coming in and this market's been dramatically bullish for pretty much no reason, that wouldn't be weird if we had a shakeout event. That'd be beautiful, by the way. I would love for that to happen. I can't say that it will with certainty, but I gave you guys those dates and those connections for the 5th, 6th, and 7th of February, and that'll be the two week closure from now. So let's look at the biweekly. Exactly. So that biweekly close coming in leads us into that time frame. It's pretty important stuff. Let's look at the 5-day. The 5 days looking pretty damn good. We're getting this 13 crossing above the 21, so that's a good signal. The 3 days, 3 days looking phenomenal. Structurally, we still want to get over that 24.3. This is very thorough analysis, by the way, guys. I hope you're paying attention. I really do. I put a lot into these podcasts. They're a lot different than the YouTube videos. I'm sure you've noticed that by now. So definitely be taking notes on these. We got a solid wolf cross at this 3-day. 5-day, not quite. But the fact that we're starting to see some of these bullish signals and bottoming signals is fantastic. Oh, and by the way, if we're going to be seeing a much lower Bitcoin, it would be more likely that we hit 30 to 40K first. We have I'll make it really simple for you guys. If we're going to see Bitcoin go lower than where it's at now, it's more likely to get into the automatic rally first before keeling over. So there's still a possibility by October, November into the end of the year that we retest 20K Bitcoin or even lower. It's important to consider because a lot of people weren't anticipating this following by this. You see this automatic rally is pretty violent, but the downtrend was a 500-day time frame. This is why I'm not fucking around, all right? I'm telling you guys that you don't want to be treating this automatic rally like it's some sort of like fairy dust bull run. It ain't. We could be on a very arduous trend. And look at this. It took about 260 days for us to experience this black swan event, but I guarantee even if Bitcoin didn't have this black swan, we probably would have had a correction at least into 6,000. So at least into 6,000 gets you back into this horizontal trading range right here. It gets you into the structural range right here on this dip, and then it would have just been a bounce. Okay, so all this did was gave an opportunity actually of 20 days below 6K. So it's a black swan. 20 days is nothing when we're talking about 500 days before entering price discovery. So in English, do not mess around with this upcoming 4 to 5 months. It ain't a joke. Bitcoin could go to 50K for all we know and then roll over, get to 25, 20 and stay there for, if we consider my time frame, and we look at the 500-day, that's October 2024. Do you really want to not have taken advantage of that? So I'm not saying this to have you FOMO in now. You should be aware. But again, this is another part of that awareness, is telling you that a lot of people don't expect these moments. Now, could we have a repeat of this 2015, 2016 bull run where we just moseyed on up with 40, 50% corrections along the way? Sure, that'd be amazing. Is it likely? No, because Bitcoin was trading at $300 back then. So it had the upside potential. Now, totally different world, totally different environment. I mean, just in this year right here of 2020 into 2021, we had historical printing by the Federal Reserve. So you all are aware that this is a very different economic climate than back in 2014. But the cyclicality of the market is no different, and that's what I want to point out with all of this. Daily's looking fantastic. Okay, so like I've given you guys all the numbers. Really, it's 25K. If we start to trade above that, that would initiate a continuation. The fact that we have this weekly 200 squeezing perfectly at 25K is making it obvious. In this Wyckoff chart right here, I'm showing you exactly what I'm talking about. This heart line here at 25K is a critical place. And then anything above that on weekly closes, we're probably going to consider continue into the automatic rally. And I said this should be noticeable by the end of February, specifically around February 13th. This energy moving us up into it should definitely be noticeable by March. So this is fun, guys. Like, we're actually here every single week and we're charting this all out and we're keeping track as a community. And I hope you're all sharing your thesis, your information over in the Discord, whether that be TA or decodes. Let's work together, guys. Let's work together. We could do so much as a team. So I'm sure the bearish divergence and all the stuff that's going on, and yeah, it's the same. It's the same. RSI, when ETH is at 1500, is sitting into 85, almost 90, and now we're sitting at 65. Yeah, it's not as noticeable here. Nah, I wouldn't even care about what I just said. Disregard it. We're holding this 200 exponential though. 200 exponential, I just want to let you guys know, if we start closing a daily below that level, probably going to come back to that 200 symbol pretty quickly. So that would be indicative of like Bitcoin rolling over to 21. If Bitcoin rolls over to 21K, I would anticipate, especially with where Bitcoin dominance is at right now, that we would see ETH come back to 1400. Oh, and by the way, a little bit of a shout. It's at 44. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's at 44.44 because I was just on Twitter. I mean, you guys probably know by now I started a Twitter. I did it to prevent scamming that's going on at WatersAbove. And I shared this post with Bearable Bull. And you guys are going to know why I'm laughing right now, because he posted this video on his public YouTube channel 4 days ago, and it hit 44K views on the fourth day. And the first price target he shares is $4. And this was my 44th tweet. I didn't plan any of this out. This is just completely ridiculous. And I was kind of just joking around with Bull a little bit over here because, you know, in the beginning of our interview, he says that he doesn't believe in gematria. He doesn't believe in the numbers. So I just wanted to show him the organic code at play. And I think that's really funny. The fact that Bitcoin dominance is trading at 44.44 right now, like as we're doing this podcast. What's the 44th day of the year? Oh, it's the 13th. That's that day that I was telling you guys about. So watch out for February 13th. Shit. Ooh, and it has that 58. That connection comes back to XRP, 58. Not a huge connection, but it is something interesting. Okay, we're fooling around now. It's going to be a long podcast, but we're having fun. I really love doing these podcasts with you guys, for you guys, whatever term. But the reason I'm looking at Bitcoin dominance now is because remember what I said. I said expect Bitcoin dominance to hit 44 to 45. And what do you know it? We literally perfectly came up into that target. So spot on call. It's important that we pay attention to some of this stuff. It's pretty interesting to watch it all play out so cyclically. Let's get into ETH and then finish up that analysis on ETH and XRP. And then we'll move into our other altcoins that were voted on in this episode. Let's get to the weekly. I think that matters a lot. Okay, so the weekly, we made it back up. And the weekly, we made it above the 200. That's looking pretty solid. The 8 could potentially cross above that 200 simple, so that's looking good too. Let's look at the EMAs. EMA is the same story on Bitcoin where we got above that 34, but we have yet to actually see these in bullish posture, which would be this blue above the red. So we still have some time. The 5 days looking good because we're starting to see the 13 cross above the 21, which means that we're going to have these all coiling up together pretty soon. And if they coil up together, that's typically a very crucial level to pay attention to for technical analysis. So we have this bi-weekly, it's very important closure, but we're not above the structural high of 1935. So until we close above that, there's really no reversal signs, and we would need to see Bitcoin engage the rally first. That's how this market works. And clearly getting resistance here at the bi-weekly 21 exponential moving average. Also all in bearish posture regarding the EMAs. So it's going to take some time. Okay, so here we are in the monthly, and all of our EMAs are at a resistance level right now. So they're all perfectly coiling up there. But ETH can smash through those. It could take some time, though. One thing to notice is how we smashed through them on an automatic rally back in 2019, and then shortly after that came back below. So this tells me that around $2,000 into 2,500, maybe 3,000 if you're lucky, is going to be your automatic rally. And like I showed you guys last time, the automatic rally for ETH and Bitcoin was identical. Actually, Bitcoin slightly outperformed ETH on an automatic rally, which is why I'm more bullish and like heavy on the idea of Bitcoin at this time than speculative altcoins. These speculative altcoins can make dramatic moves to the upside during an automatic rally, but they can return down to springs that go even lower, okay? So please be careful with these speculative altcoins. And for me, I'm gonna be selling all of my speculative altcoins into the automatic rally and rebuilding my portfolio after the automatic rally, which I've talked about. And I'm gonna be sharing that whenever I make those moves in the Discord. So yeah, heavy resistance coming in at 18,000 for ETH on these macro charts. Daily's looking fine, but still just another lower high. So Bitcoin's looking better. And there's a clear resistance here at about 16,070, some sort of like a double top energy. So on a bigger pullback, 1400 is in the cards for Ethereum. Let's look at, and also it's a weekend. It's a Saturday right now. So this is all trading alone. This is all just retail. I should talk about the CME. Now that I brought that up. So we still have the CME gap to the downside. So it's 20,000 to, it's 20,000. So it would be really interesting if we just continue on up from here and don't backtest that, because I would assume later in the year, then that would probably get filled up, which could be a nice target to consider for Bitcoin to return down to. Now, we don't need to fill the CME gaps. We just tend to. You could see this moment right here where we created the gap between 24 and 26, and it took until June 2022 to fill it, but it's still filled. That's 500 days later. Okay. Wow. That's really interesting, because remember I showed you from here to here was like 500 something days. This doesn't include weekends. Sorry. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah, it's pretty similar. About 500 days. Just interesting. I thought maybe we could reveal another cycle. But anyways, so, we did fill that gap, and we haven't actually filled this 27, 28 gap, which is all part of our automatic rally range. And then we have 34, 35 to fill. So I think these are all going to get swiped through on the recovery rally. If we did that first, though, without a more dramatic backtest, like if we only came down to 21, like I was sharing before, and then had this move up, it'd be pretty interesting to see if we do get a cyclical kind of like one of these moments where we have our automatic rally, then we jag down into filling up that gap, which would have been right about here. This was a black swan, so you don't count that. Makes sense? I hope it does. Let's look at XRP. All right, so XRP just ranging, so we're not going to have much to say in this podcast about it. I talked about it a lot in the Bearable Bull interview, and I'll talk about it more as needed. We're definitely just kind of still within that trend line area. Kind of breaking out of it, actually. But we tend to come right back into these trend lines. I would love for this to bounce through. I shared that there's an apex that comes in February, back in a while ago. And you could see right here, it's on this C19 rejection. We had a little bit of a back test there. And then after this, remember, flare distribution nonsense, then the SEC crash, we came right back down to this trend line. Then we have our buying climax. We returned right back down to this trend line again, and then one last time. So will we return back to it? It's sloping positively, so we can get to March and be at 35 cents. No, I think we'll get into $1, maybe a little bit above $1 into the automatic rally, and then this could be a trend line to pay attention to later in the year, coming back to about right where we are, 40 cents. Something interesting to consider. Okay. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to say. Let's look at the monthly. Let's turn off all this nonsense. Oh, yeah, monthly is not really looking that great. Until we close a monthly above like 47 cents, there's really nothing to party about. Bi-weekly is still a lot lower than your structural high, which is about 53. So again, just lower highs. We have a high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Weekly, same story, just lower highs, clear downtrend. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. Downtrend. Until we start closing above 53 on macro candles, nothing to say. But I'm still positive. If it gets to $1 during the automatic rally, I'm going to be de-risking for sure. Oh, and if you're new here to my work from Bearable Bull and you're confused at what I'm talking about, please rewatch any episodes. If you hear me say price targets and it sounds really low, well, it's because it's in context. It's in context to something that I've been talking about for over 2 years now. And it's the idea of where we're at structurally in this cycle. And during that Bearable Bull podcast interview, I also talked about how the next big thing to happen in crypto is probably the event that's going to lead to XRP having a dramatic rally. And it would probably take some washout of the overall market, the shitcoin market mostly. So here we're looking at Dent. I haven't looked at this in a while, but I did do TA on it at one point. A while ago, clearly. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so first things first, we're going to pull a fib here. Yeah, that would probably be a conservative level, or right about, yeah, I would say right about here would be the right level. And the reason for that is because we have 2 touch points holding on the weekly close. We have another little wick, which came to a lower high, kind of a little bit of a bull trap in the micro. And then this was your break of structure. So I like putting my bearish fib pull in that range, like right where you have a break of structure, but then also you could look back at the chart data and you see confluence with the levels. So this just, boom, blow off top. Come back, retest. I'm pulling my bearish fib, which is a swing low to swing high. It's done in reverse. This is to reveal my 1618, which is a very important level. So thus, 97%. Okay, so this has pretty much lost most of its value, but the 1618 tends to get back tested. It doesn't mean it needs to get back tested immediately, but it is a level to keep in mind, and it looks like a clean level. Look at where this 1618 is at, and then the candle break right here was 230%. So right at that level is when you just started to go parabolic. It's a very key level, 0004. God, this thing is like fractions of a fraction of a penny. Fuck. All right. Yeah, this is not a safe play at all. Clearly speculative. If this is the short-term bottom, getting above the 236 level, which is 0013, would send you to probably somewhere in 003 territory. So somewhere here is where I'd be anticipating this to go next. Probably not much higher than that, which would be into the golden pocket of the bearish fib pull. So kind of the lower range of that. And that aligns actually right with that weekly close right there. Boom. So I would imagine the reason behind what I'm sharing now is this is a key level to break. So if we start trading above this level, this would be your lower high, that if you got over this lower high, you would have a trend reversal. But as long as you're below it, it's just the continuation of the current trend. So this tells me that would probably be a key level to backtest if we're going to see a dramatic relief rally. And that's only about, yeah, it's a 500% gain. So that's pretty typical on a highly speculative altcoin. I would assume this is in the 200s of market cap. It's probably in the so it's 270th market cap. So super low. And that's very possible. But then returning back to these lows and this level is definitely in the cards. So keep that in mind. Let's look at the daily and see what's up. Yeah, this looks like a selling climax to me. All of that. Structurally, it looks fine. And in the macro, you'd call this kind of like your... Yeah, this looks like a selling climax to me, for sure. And you back tested the launch levels right there. So you could see, if you just follow my cursor, it goes back to that range before we had a little bit of a dump. Yeah, so not much to say on this. This is not enough chart data. I mean, it's enough for me to do TA on it, but it doesn't have only one cycle, kind of. This will be the completion of its first cycle when it breaks into, if it starts trading above 0035, that would be the finality of the cycle, because then you would start into a reaccumulation cycle. Not the greatest looking chart either. Losing 97% of its value. It got introduced at a time which was not the safest, led to this spring, which happened because of the C19 crash, and then only went parabolic because everything else did. So with all of that speculation, this tells me that near the end of this year, this might have a very sloppy chart. Okay. H bar. Oh yeah, clear selling climax. Okay, so when you see this very dramatic spike like that, that's a confirmation of selling climax. And this thing lost pretty much all of its value too. 93, 94%, looking a little better than the other coin. Okay, but you see the level that you're coming up to right there, and that's your lower high. This has so much room to go till it's back into its horizontal range. You see right here, this is, I'm going to turn everything off. This was a straight line breakout. So when you lose the value, you can straight line fall right back. This is not any special. It's not a special example. This is normal TA or normal price action on an altcoin. And I'm bullish on HBAR for the future, by the way. It's a Saturn coin. I bet on Saturn for sure. The way this market works, once you learn the mythology, you know the truth. So this is looking very similar to how selling climaxes tend to end, which is in a bear trap. You get bears trapped on this because you fell down in a straight line. Then you have this arduous drawdown, which takes an additional like 100 and something days, 4 months basically. And then boom, just pop right out of that low. So it's pretty solid. And off of your parabolic run, that's like 2 years. So this is about time for it to have this moment, and it did. But let's look at some levels now. Okay. Sorry, this is too much. Yeah, we just blasted through the 1618, and then after we just blasted right up back to it. So this is not like the greatest looking chart, I'm going to admit. It's a Bart Simpson head. The whole chart is a macro Bart. So it's not healthy. Let's delete this and look at everything based on the fib. The bullish fib. Swing high to swing low. Okay, so look at what happened. We just slammed right into the 236. So that is very, actually that's quite normal that we did that. And the next level to look for continuation of the relief rally would be your 618. And that's obvious because you see where the 618 is. You have your buying climax, distributional top, return down to it. You hit 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. 6 weeks of trading, and then the 7th attempt, we just broke right through it. So that's a very key level, 20 cents. And then remember, Saturn is 21 in Gematria, okay? And H-bar is a Saturn coin. The old logo of Hedera Hashgraph literally used to be the Saturn Zodiac logo. They're not even hiding it from you. So getting back up to the 21 would be an amazing recovery, by the way. Let's see where the lows came in. 0.35. 3 5s is 15. 555. 15 in the Tiger year. Got that 102. I decoded this coin one time. Yeah, you see the Hedera Hashgraph giving you 55 in Chaldean, just like Satoshi Nakamoto is 55 in Chaldean, and Satoshi is Saturn. This is all tied together. All right. Also, H is the 8th letter, the infinity symbol. But this H, if you look at it, it's changed to the Gemini logo turned sideways. Bada bing, bada boom. So it's the Gemini logo, but like literally turned sideways. That's the new H bar logo. It's the ladder. All right. So yeah, this area is pretty normal to get tested on, but the fact that we're getting rejected at that high right there, the prior high that came in August, and then we're right around the 236, it tells me that we could roll over down to about 0.56, and that wouldn't be weird because remember, was it Hedera giving you? Yeah, so H bar and Hedera hash graph giving you 65 and 156. So that one just empowers that 56, and then the 56 as above, so below, mirror of 65. And then we traded right into that. That was a really key level before we broke down. Interesting. That's really interesting. Okay. So yeah, that would not be a weird retest. If it was to retest back there, that would probably be a good point to get a little bit of an accumulation before a continuation of a rally. And then you're looking at about 250. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good pump. Obviously, Dent would be more opportunity, but it's much more speculative, and it's something you'd have to completely de-risk, whilst H bar is a long-term hold. We're looking at LCX. I'm not going to be able to do a ton of TA on this, but it was voted, and I thought it would be interesting to cover. So this is just one of those that perpetually on a downtrend loses 95% of its value, and then out of nowhere just pops up in the other direction. I would assume RSI is completely oversold. Yes, it is. It hit 87 on the daily just in short order. And your horizontal trading range is going to be right here. Okay, so that's your horizontal level, and we tested it, traded above it until we broke into it for 100 days. Then we traded inside of it for almost 200 days, and then we traded below it for an additional. So this is like your heart line of trading range. If we go above it, returning back to it at some point would not be weird. So that's why I'm identifying that, which is a little bit more of a unique way of analyzing trend and analyzing the market, but just pay attention to that horizontal trading range. And as you know, as a Wyckoff trader, I give a lot more of my emphasis on horizontal trading ranges than anything else. So there's clearly also something else going on here, which is a break of this this trend right here. So it was following along this. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, but we're looking at an altcoin, and pretty much we just zoomed out of it. So back testing those levels on the lows are unlikely at this time. It would be likely though to potentially retest 0.75, but this thing really just pumped out of there. 450%. That could be the end of that. Let's look at LCX's market cap. 250. Okay, these are super low market cap, so it could do these things. Okay, I would worry about this level. The fact that you have that trading range right there rejected, which led to us kind of taking a more substantial dump, retesting it here, and then, yeah, it's hard to do TA on this, guys, because we don't have a lot of data, but I'm doing my best. Oh, yeah. Okay, so anyone who knows about the dead cat bounce, you know that when you hit the 0.5 fib, if you can't start solidifying closures above that, that could lead to a dead cat bounce, which I don't know if we're going to do now. But this getting to the 0.5 fib is one of the lowest levels of the automatic rally. So when you automatic rally, you at least hit the 0.5 fib. Then if it really wants to get dramatic, it could get to the 702 or the 786 or the top of the golden pocket. But at this time, this thing would be at de-risking territory. So if you hold an altcoin and you're pulling the fibs the way I just showed you, and it makes it to the 0.5 fib, that is not a bad time to take some off the gambling casino, you know? Cash in your chips. Not everything. I'm not telling you to sell your bag. This isn't financial advice, but that's like really the first level that you want to consider as a conservative target. And I teach this very in-depth inside of my exit strategy blueprint, which is included for free inside of my crypto mastermind course. So if you're somebody who's looking to get a little bit more educated on everything I'm talking about today in this podcast, my crypto mastermind course is heavily discounted for you guys as Patreon supporters. It's the biggest discount that's available at this time. So if you wanted to get that package deal of also having the exit strategy blueprint, that's included in that crypto mastermind course. It saves you money in that regard instead of buying both separately. Okay, so yeah, skyrocket straight line breakout. That's not healthy. And the fact that it hit the 0.5 fib is concerning. The fact that it's getting rejected at similar levels that were once tested is also concerning, and a lower high. Yeah. If Bitcoin was to move down to 21 or 22 into that range, just a little bit of a pullback, this thing could return right back to the 382 fib, and then it could even bounce and have one more leg up into April, like when everything else relief rallies, and then have your, that would be a much more technical move. But what I explained before is possible. Okay, never mind on that. Lastly, we're going to quickly go over T-Fuel and then share some words of wisdom on Theta, because I know it's been a couple months since we went over those, and those are popular coins. So we're looking at T-Fuel, and we have a fib pull right from this level at around 11 cents up to the swing high. So it's a reverse Fibonacci retracement pull. And it's right there at that break, like I showed you earlier. And this gives us our 1618 target, which we made it to and even got a little bit lower. So this also has lost 96% of its value. The one thing that's good about this is we have some prior chart data, and this is higher lows. So we have our ultimate low, we have a higher low, and then we have a higher low. So this is a lot more data to work with than the other two charts that I shared before. This might be falling into a trend line as well. There you go. That's clean. Oof, that's clean. So you have your buying climax. You have a little bit of a kind of bullish volatile pump / fake out. Then you have your bull trap, which led you to continuation of the downside. Then you have another lower high rejection, which led to the bigger pullback. This is like the start of your bottom or your selling climax, which had a double bottom with a spring. And then boom, we just shot straight up in like a single day. What the fuck happened that day? I like how it went up 12.21%, 12.21, the mirror. But the whole day must have been a massive volatile day. Holy shit, 68% on a day and then rejection. That's not healthy. Okay, so this is typically how automatic rallies start. They just have all this bullish nonsense. But I would say that you could consider this trend line to know when the automatic rally is really engaging. But I would like to see weekly closes above this level right here, the structural level, above 7.6. So getting above that level right there, also above this trend line, and then continuing into usually your golden pocket area of the bearish fib pull. But let me show you with a standard fib pull. Oh, so T-Fuel's still in like buying range. This is great opportunity on T-Fuel. I'm looking to get a little more T-Fuel myself. A little more T-Fuel, a little more Theta. I'm being very patient though. Being very patient. Okay. So 22 cents. Damn, I drew my line like perfectly by mistake. Right into 21 cents. That'd be great. That's a hella crazy rally to 600%. But this coin could do that because you take off of this horizontal range right here and you go to top and it went up 44,000%. Fuck. God damn. Buying back then must have been a gift if you held. Okay. So yeah, I mean, let's look at the level we're getting. I'm going to remove this really quickly. I'm going to remove this. And you see where the 236 is at? Trading at 0.06, and we're below that now. So we got smashed into the 236 but rejected. Closing above the 236 would be key. So just keep that in mind if you want to pull that fib, and that would kind of tell you when you're engaging into your automatic rally. But ideally, you do want to break structural highs. That's just how you do a very conservative trade. Yeah. This is looking great. Now, after an automatic rally, though, this thing can spring hard. Hard. Like we're talking fucking to the doldrums. I know that looks horrifying, guys, but this is crypto. Please, 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 please remember that this is crypto. This shit could go right back down. Like bad. Because it never backtested this range, and this range is definitely possible. So I would be careful. On your reaccumulation, nobody ever finds the bottom exactly. It's impossible. Quick thoughts on... Okay, we got to end this episode soon before I fry my brain. Okay, so this is an awesome chart because I don't even need to use any indicators. I could just show you what's up. We have the pullback of similar 95, 96%. We have a lot of chart data. This is another one of those banger projects that went up, 30,000%. It's had its bigger pullback now, but look at these trend lines. I mean, damn. You got this touch, touchy, touch. And now since we broke below it, we get boom, rejection, boom, right back there. Look at this shit. And off of this topside pattern, we got buying climax and lower highs. And this has played a very nice role in our resistance levels as well. But look, we've pretty much come back into that level. So if we cross both of these to the upside, that'll cross this structural high, and that would be a signal of reversal. So keep that in mind. They're making it easy for us, actually, because it's right there, 131. Isn't 131 the 32nd prime number? So I think 131 is the 32nd prime number, which ties you back to the sun, right? By Leo, 32. But Theta's a Venus token. Token that's definitely tied to Venus, the Lucifer, the light bringer, which is the sun, which is Leo, which they're all the same. I know astrology people would disagree with me, but once you study the mythology, you get your answers there, because Venus is Aphrodite, who's Apollyon, who's Apollo, and Apollo is Helios, which is the sun. So it's all, people need to see the connections, man. It's all tied together like that. They want to make it all separate to confuse people. They confuse the initiate who's studying mythology and getting into the zodiac and stuff like that. But once you make the connections, you see the truth. Anywho, the 131 is a very key level for Theta. Let me see if I'm getting any moving averages that... Okay, yeah, so we're getting rejected pretty much right into that 200 exponential. Let's see here. Yeah, we don't have enough data to do that. But that 200 exponential right there at that resistance line, like right there at that red trend line that I'm showing you guys. So yeah, this chart looks really like it's exhausted on its selling pressure. Very exhausted on selling pressure, which is a good thing. That means it's ready for relief rally. And let's look at the relief rally levels. We're not going to go over this coin for some time, guys, because it's been too much, unless I make some sort of emergency episode and I want to talk about Theta. I'm going to give this one a couple months before we revisit it. So you got your 236 sitting there around 150. Again, that makes a lot of sense. Technically, you would call full-blown reversal after trading above 171, but 131 is your target level that I was telling you about to the start of the energy, let's just say. Then here, 0.5 would be minimum, somewhere around $3.40, and then into like $5, $6 could be potential. Right off the bat, I'm seeing these two spikes, which are an M pattern, and we know it's a confirmed M pattern because when we broke it to the downside is when we entered our next horizontal level. And that horizontal level is still in play to this day for 260 days. So $4 and are you kidding me with these fucking 44s, bro? What is going on? Seriously, 4-4. Am I like living? Dude, we're in a simulation, bro. How many 44s do we have to fucking... Ooh, Theta token's giving you the 119. How didn't I remember that? Theta token's giving you 119, and we're in the year of the water rabbit, 119. And that's the Theta. The Theta is the Venus token. Whew. We got that 81.18.54, 81.18.54, and 27. 27. Oh, we got that. The 19th, the A prime. Shit, I forgot about this stuff. It's been a minute. That 119 is everything, dude. '40th prime. Again here, I've got 61. 18th prime. Okay, there you go. That's another connection to the 18s. Theta token and the ticker symbol name. 61 in Chaldean. 18th prime. Bringing you back to the 18 anyways in full reduction. The mirror of the 18 is the 81. Also bringing you back to Venus with that 81. Okay. 44, bro. It's like the 100th time today I've seen this shit. Okay, there it is. It's a lucky number, I guess. I guess 45 would make sense on theta by the fact that 45 is a important number for theta, 54 and 45. Okay, I'm going to end this episode here, family. I appreciate y'all. I gave you your levels to consider for this to continue. The 236 would be more your technical level, and then here would be your horizontal level to add even more confidence to the continuation of an automatic rally, which would probably bring you into the double top of this M pattern, which is sitting right around $4.40. Clearly an important level. Everything around $4 to $5. I'll just make it very, very simple for everyone. Everything between 4 to 5, and I'll put horizontal lines there. Just to make it real easy. I'll make it this color. It's a little less aggressive. There it is. That would probably be your automatic rally territory, and that'd be a beautiful play, especially if we got a little rejection down to $1 flat and then heading up about 300. I'd probably be de-risking some of my theta around there too, because this, again, it's just an automatic rally. Automatic rallies tend to get rejections followed by reversals. And are we about to hit 24K Bitcoin to end this episode? I think we are. So this thing just broke structure to the upside, and we could be getting that 25K by the end of the day. And remember what I said, hitting the 21K would not be weird. Ooh, damn it. I was about to end this episode and I fucking opened this chart. I have to tell you guys about this chart. Okay, so look at this chart. It goes back super long. Okay, we have the last Shemitah. We see a back test perfectly at this trend line, which was the bottom. Then we have a full bull run followed by the C19 crash, perfectly hit this level. Then we have this cycle. We came down to this level. We broke it, traded on the outside of it for about 50 days, then got rejected outside of it. And now we're gravitating back up to it. And where we're gravitating to is basically right there at 25,000. So that would be amazing if we hit 25,000 at the start of the rabbit year. Today's the 29th, which is connected to the year of the rabbit by 7 days. And we have the 73 today with the 21st prime number, tying this all back to Saturn. And these connections to that number 25 and 52 with the rabbit, 25 and 52. If we're starting off this rabbit year and we got the 12 reverse is 21, which I just showed you, all those connections. Hitting 52 or 25K to start out this rabbit year, that would be amazing. So coded, and that would give us a lot of evidence into the importance of this code and to really be paying attention specifically to that number 25 this year. Okay, I'm going to end this here, family. I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your weekend. There's so many gems dropped in this episode. Looking forward to get that Super Bowl decode out to everyone, as well as Friday night hangouts, potentially doing DJ nights. So love you guys. Have a great rest of your Saturday or Sunday. Great rest of your Sunday. Much love.